Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Books and Betches, not to be confused with Books and...
I don't know.
I knew you weren't ready for that one, and that's fine. I'm Kristen, and with me I have...
Erica.
Maria.
What?
Oh, she's coming in high.
It's not even Deep Sigh Sunday. That was a big sigh.
That's a
That was
thing?
a big sigh.
Deep Sigh Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
A Deep Sigh Sunday. Everybody celebrate, and we can make this a Hallmark month. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, do your gimmick.
This is a book podcast. We swear, we spoiled, we talk about sex, we suck at it. But this week, I think we're going to kick it off with a topic, right?
Yeah.
This week we're going real topical.
It's hot off the presses. This is happening right
Real
this
time.
second.
Oh, I didn't even
We're
know.
in real time.
What are we talking about?
We're doing It Ends With Us drama.
No.
It's drama
Now,
talk
before-
now. We're a
before
drama
we-
channel now.
Okay, go ahead.
Before we get into this, I want to say that just like a disclaimer, if you or your loved ones or friends or family are ever in a dangerous scenario with anything pertaining to domestic violence, there are resources out there for you. The hotline.org is a 24/7 like chat, text, call.
We'll have it in the
center.
description.
And then also nomore.org is the one that It Ends With Us has been promoting, Justin Baldoni. And that is also a significant resource for you as well.
Cool.
So would like to just start first and foremost before we get like lost in the kerfuffle of the drama
In the rage.
and the rage.
Okay, what's the tea? What's the drama? Oh my
I'm ready.
gosh.
She was waiting to
I
fucking
know.
crack
I
that.
was.
All right.
I only drink here.
Oh, well, first of all, It Ends With Us is a book by Colleen Hoover. We haven't... Have you read it?
Yes.
No.
Oh, you read it?
I've read it.
She's read it.
Did you?
I own it and do not want to read it.
The only book of Colleen Hoover's that we read on this
Verity.
podcast was Verity, and it's
And
my least favorite
we
book.
spoiled Ugly Love one time.
We did?
We did. We Eric
what?
and I, yeah, we got a
didn't know
comment for it.
this.
Eric and I spoiled, but it was
By
unintentional.
accident. It was by
It was like we were
accident.
in the moment of the conversation.
It
We
was by
forgot that we,
accident.
projected to the world. So
Yeah. So in total, I think I've read 4 Colleen Hoover books.
I've read Ugly Love and Verity. I don't think I've read anything
So
else.
I want to preface this with
Preface.
Preface away, baby.
I don't dislike. Sorry, I did not dislike Colleen Hoover until the coloring book saga happened.
Got it. Okay.
So
What the fuck is the coloring book? Sorry.
I
You're
was
gonna
fine.
find out.
I was fine with Colleen Hoover. I read Ugly Love. I liked Ugly Love. I gave it 4 stars.
I liked Ugly Love too.
I read It Ends With Us. I did not fucking like it. We read Verity. I did not like
I
it.
hated Verity, I can tell you
But
that.
I could objectively stand back and go, this just isn't for me. This author isn't for me.
The
I don't
for me
like the
thing.
writing. I
Yeah.
don't like XYZ, this like topic.
And we
I
just
don't
move on.
like sad books. Like there was just a litany of other reasons that had nothing to do with, and I understand why people like her books.
Yeah.
So when we talk about today's topic,
Yeah.
under no circumstances am I judging anybody that reads her books or
As we
enjoys
never
her
do.
books.
We don't
no,
judge.
no, but I want to make this clear because I think Colleen Hoover is scum of the earth.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I don't, but I'm not.
We're here.
I'm not judging people for reading her books.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
And that's
Okay.
so fair.
I
mean,
just,
we shouldn't.
She crosses.
Because the stuff that Erica reads could make people judge.
I mean,
left, right, and
she
center.
crosses my moral line in the sand. That once you get past that, I can't think
It's
of
greed,
you.
right?
You don't
it's
respect her
greed.
anymore.
Yeah.
It's greed.
So explain the coloring book
So the
thing.
coloring book is It Ends With Us is a story of domestic abuse, and it is not a romance.
Is this the one with Ellen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It does
Not with Ellen,
it's-
but yeah.
Yeah.
The main love story in this like book is the abuser in her.
Damn.
So like to
So it's
me,
a
this
heavy
is
book.
not a romance.
Yeah. Doesn't
Because
sound
the main romance of the story is it's exploration of like how this happens, and you know what I mean. Like there's a bunch of like of just like life, right?
Sure.
I personally think this is like women's fiction. I don't consider this a romance in any sense of the definition.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
So the coloring book, she announces the coloring book. The coloring book says that it has scenes from the book. And everyone's like, what scenes when he pushes her down the stairs? Like,
Damn.
what's the coloring scene?
So what was it?
So part of
I never saw, so I don't
like the cover of it had, so the guy that's the abuser is a doctor, is a surgeon, has like a stethoscope. Like it's clearly like themed on
Did we need this?
everything. So people lost their shit about it.
Okay, I can see why.
She sat there and she again, she was like, yeah, I get what you're saying. I meant to do this in a different light. Like, I thought of it differently. So she nixed the coloring book.
That's good.
Amazing. Don't know how it got past like 100 like approvals, but then guess what she does?
What?
She comes out with nail polish lines
Based
for
on
her
the
book.
book?
About the book.
For her books that have child abuse or child loss, parental loss, domestic violence, all of it. So
she's like-
there is Verity
Yeah.
nails.
So she's like
Press on
disconnected.
nails.
She's disconnected from her own writing.
Spoiler for Ugly Love, so skip 30 seconds. There is
You already
literally
spoiled it.
there is literally like a blue color like nail polish like press on thing for Ugly Love. The the kid drowns. Like, why would I want to wear the color of the water the kid
I didn't
drowned
know
in?
It's also
any
the
of
color
this.
of the front cover of the
This
book.
is-
Because it's the
I
whole
understand.
thing is the water.
I understand.
So it's like, what the fuck is wrong with your brain that you think that
it's
this
not,
is like
I'm sure
appropriate?
this is how I feel about like Sarah J. Maas and the decisions that they make for
Also
her books.
fucking
right?
disgusting.
It's not just her. It's her team. It's the marketing team behind it. It's those who want to make money off of
It's
her
corporate
success.
greed.
It's corporate greed. Anyways, so now we have It Ends With Us movie.
Oh, they made a movie for the book.
They made a movie for the
Correct.
book.
Which should have just gone right to Netflix. It feels like
It's
a
one
Netflix
of the biggest.
movie.
I don't agree with that. It's one of the biggest books that's ever been.
Nah,
Yeah.
it feels like a Netflix movie.
No, to
after
you it feels that
after
way.
was one of the biggest books out there, and,
Right.
and that
No,
went
no, no.
right.
You-
This,
feels that
this
way,
book
but
has
this
sold
is-
more.
You
more
keep saying
books
the
than
Bible.
fucking
I don't give a
Bible,
shit
the
about
Bible.
that.
Right.
I'm
you
just
don't.
saying.
But a lot of people love this.
But the way that it's set up feels like one of those Netflix
It's been
movies.
on the bestseller list for like almost 3 years.
I don't know, man.
Like, we're talking about a massive. It makes sense that this would be a Hollywood blockbuster.
Not to me. Given the
So
story.
I want to be really explicitly clear what happens in like the movie industry here. So somebody buys the rights of this,
Correct.
right?
Justin Baldoni.
Justin Baldoni's production company buys the rights, half the rights for this, $25 million. And then what happens in movies is the production company hires a director, right?
Yep.
And the director
Justin Baldoni?
is going to be Justin Baldoni because Justin Baldoni owns the fucking company. So the top 2 seats on this project is Justin Baldoni and Justin Baldoni and his production company. Okay.
Okay.
So all of these rumors about like there being like Blake coming in and putting like too much of her creative like blah 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 on it. None of that fucking matters because the only 2 people that can make decisions here
well,
is
isn't she an
Justin.
executive
And
producer?
She also
She's a
executive
producer.
producer.
I mean, as a producer,
They
you do
still have input.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
I mean, he
top-
gets
but
final say,
he
but they're
gets
still
final say
going to
for
be.
everything.
She still
She's
gets to
still
talk.
going to say something. And
I
that's
know, but
gonna
he
cause
could be
a
like
rift.
great and then
Right.
not
Which
do
is
it.
probably what
Which
the
is what
competition
happened.
is. It's probably like she
But
came in with
but that's
stuff.
what I'm saying is like at the end of the day, but they're saying the final cut was like her cut, and it's like
Who said that?
I mean, this is the rumor. The rumor
okay,
mill.
so
the
that
rumor
this is
mill.
okay. Let's put a pause real quick because this is where I get annoyed about these kind of drama things. Is
Yeah.
that
Nobody knows.
speculation runs rampant, and no one truly has.
It's
the
all
actual-
speculation.
It's all
It's
speculation
all-
until someone says, "Oh, an inside source, part of Blake's
But they
team,
do this.
said X, Y, and Z." And I'm like, you don't know if that's truly what they said or if they're like what you're saying,
they do
adding
this.
into the drama. I don't like going in unless Justin or Blake said it directly. Like, this was my cut, this was her cut. I'm not going to believe.
I
it.
think what actually happened is like there's always creative differences on films.
Every single movie has
That's
creative
how it is.
drama.
So for her to say, I don't like how we're doing this, and as a producer, I want to express my creative rights, and I want my husband to do this, and I want whatever. Like, she has a right to come in and say that. He has a right to say that's not
No.
what we're doing. And that's probably what happened. There was probably a rift. I think some of her stuff did get through. I know
she wanted like Taylor
Ryan
Swift
wrote-
songs and like
Ryan Reynolds wrote
Yeah.
one of the scenes. So
Is
it's
it
like,
sure he wrote it during the strike?
oh, really? I didn't
Is
know that.
problematic? It's
Problematic?
not bad.
Yeah.
it's
Is that like
that's scabbing.
That's so bad.
that's not
That's
okay?
scabbing.
I didn't know that.
I saw
And
one
this
thing.
is alleged.
Alleged, yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
don't
we
wanna
don't
get
know
sued.
when he actually wrote it.
I don't want to
but,
get sued.
I mean,
So allegedly he wrote it during the strike.
but basically, I mean, John, like my husband works in you guys work in television, and a 3-minute segment can have creative differences.
Absolutely.
Like we're talking about
does
all the time.
Does.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
20
Like,
people
from
or
20,
more.
yeah, 20.
and we're talking about everything from
A short.
3 frames to 10 frames.
Yes.
Like we're talking about like
Music,
fractions
everything.
of seconds.
Everything.
Like every single thing that could possibly like, and then you're looking at this as a 90-minute movie. Like, of course, there's going to be creative differences.
Right.
The difference is that actors know how to like keep it in fucking house.
Right.
And this is where I like stand on my soapbox here.
Let's put that soapbox out.
People know in the entertainment industry how to keep it in house. You find out in blind items 10 years later or 5 years later or 4 years later that there was problems on set. You don't find out about it on
Well, it's because you sign
weeks leading
NDAs
up.
and shit.
Yeah,
You're really not
exactly.
supposed to talk about certain
So you
things.
don't find out about that unless their team or somebody else's team is slipping that into the media.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, that is how this whole thing works. You like even
Or you speculate.
Or you
People speculating, which turns into a whole fucking thing.
And then someone goes in and says, well, if someone speculated, that means they believe it. Let me add it
Yeah.
in from our team.
So-
It's a whole vicious cycle.
Yep.
as of May, Colleen Hoover and Justin Baldoni were Gucci. They were at press junkets together, arm in arm, like everything was good. After May is when you start seeing like fall off of Justin Baldoni. I do believe he had some health complications at some point, so he was like in and out. So he wasn't as much press stuff. And then the cast has unfollowed Justin on Instagram.
Okay.
I find that to be so petty and dumb.
I
Like,
just
So
feel like people notice
Justin
these things.
still follows everybody.
Sure.
but no one follows him.
Nobody follows him. Obviously,
so
Colleen
weird.
followed him, like, you know, whatever. The thing about this is like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and all these people, like, that's not their real Instagram. Like, that is their.
No, it's run by their teams.
It's run by their teams. It's not their like personal like shit. Like they
Right.
probably have burners.
They have Finstas, yeah.
Yeah, they have Finstas or whatever, right? And or don't use social media at all. So the fact that they did that publicly, you know what you're doing there. You know you're creating a plot line.
Yeah.
You know you are.
I don't think it's a work though. I totally.
It's a work
Can we
because
explain
you-
what
I'm going to
work
use your
means
word
to those who
Wait,
don't?
I want to use your word. I vehemently disagree with you. Is that how you say that?
Vehemently?
Vehemently disagree with you.
It's clickbait. It was
So
what it
that's
is.
where I was going to get
I think
at.
it's generated clickbait. But I don't
think now they're
that
running
they-
with it, right? I might have started.
Maybe.
The idea that people are focusing on who's following who,
They know that people do that though.
but like,
That's weird.
it's just a
Say
weird.
what is a work?
Yeah,
Explain
say
it
what
for
a work is to those
non-wrestling
who have not been in the wrestling world.
Yeah. First
it's
of all, Erica's husband still works at WWE. We all used to work at WWE. I know we brought that up a million times. You're probably sick of hearing it. But Erica, because of this, Erica's
still
still
in
in it. We're out. We're fucking.
probably
I never
still
want to
watching
hear about
Raw
that
every
shit.
week.
And
Poor thing.
So Erica thinks that everything around her is a storyline. She thinks that like reality doesn't exist. So like when we say a work in the wrestling world, that just means it's a story. It's made up. It's fabricated
it's
to
created
move the,
to move.
So she thinks everything is a
Everything
work.
is a work.
And
In Hollywood,
that's
it is.
insane. I don't think every single thing, like things can exist without it having to do with marketing.
I know. So the reason I think it's a work is because I think this is like what's happening. Justin Baldoni clearly is not agreeing with the marketing plan for this movie. The marketing plan has been pop-up flower shops in New York City. It's been
Market as a romance.
It's been Blake selling her
Alcohol.
liquor and her hair products.
That's
and
crazy.
She had liquor too.
No wonder she's so close with Colleen Hoover.
But she's doing like all this like fanfare as if this is like Barbie.
Yeah.
Right? Like she wants
Yeah,
her
she was
Barbie.
talking about
Blurry
like her
and Deadpool.
outfits in one. I saw
Yeah.
one clip of
Her-
her talking about outfits, and from the pictures I saw from back when we were starting to film, they were the ugliest outfits
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
So
Yeah.
that was another thing. And I understand like kind of deviating creatively with like they wanted to focus on the wardrobe in this movie. I don't know why. Like it doesn't make sense to me, but I've heard her talk on multiple occasions about the wardrobe for this, and it's like, why? You know what I mean?
What
like,
does that
it
have to do
like,
with
why does
anything?
that
That
matter?
has
She
nothing
was
to do
like
with the
very
story.
I think
like
she's just not comfortable talking about the actual like DV stuff.
So that's another thing, right? So the interviews that she has done have been very dismissive of like the DV part of all of this in the sense that like she doesn't really address it. She thinks that that Lily, which is the main character, is like more than just her domestic abuse and blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. When Justin is taking the line of like, no, like this movie is for people to see that like you can leave and blah blah. Like
It
you know,
ends
it's,
with us.
he's talking about DV much more, and she's getting annoyed by
And the
people
male role
asking
behind
that.
it, not just what women go through, but what men should learn from it to
Yes.
not be dickheads.
Right.
He has years of talking about this, of
Yes.
doing movies that are heavy topics,
Yes.
addressing those topics. He has a podcast.
He's always had that. He's always been that kind of guy.
Always been that person. He has a podcast that like explicitly talks about gender roles and toxic masculinity, and like he clearly is not just doing this
for the movie.
for the
He's
movie.
been this way.
He does passion projects.
I didn't know that.
Right,
Yeah.
like that's kind of
That's why I
his
loved him in
gimmick.
Jane the Virgin, because when coming out of that,
Oh, that's why he looks
that's where
familiar.
he's from, yeah.
People hated him in Jane the Virgin though.
I liked Raphael and Jane the Virgin. But I always love the guy no one wants.
Right. Yeah. I love that.
So now the media has pitted them up against each other because they've created that storyline. And now what's happening right now is both PR teams are feeding whenever you see insider knowledge, that's their PR team feeding that storyline
So
to
I
the
do
press.
think it has become a little bit of a work where like, okay, we're seeing people are talking about it as dramatized. I do want to like clarify that. I do think like now that it's become such a big thing, maybe they're feeding into it more, but I don't think it started as like, I don't think they were sitting down in a marketing team, like as a marketing team thinking like, all right, how can we get people to watch this
Right.
movie?
I think they're just
Let's start
they're
drama.
playing damage control.
I'm having
Yeah.
a hard time understanding how Blake and Ryan miss so hard on this marketing in terms of like, okay, we're gonna unfollow him and nobody's gonna notice.
The problem-
and nobody's gonna like, the public.
Do we know-
creates something out of nothing?
Do we know what was the first seed? What was the first domino that made people believe that
It had to
things
be
were wrong?
interviews, right?
Was it an interview? Was it like, because for me, I'm not gonna
Yeah, I
notice.
think people started noticing because the interviews felt different.
Okay,
Then
'cause
they checked.
Then they
probably.
check Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was always like some seedlings of like creative differences once like the cuts came out and stuff. But here's where now let's circle back to Colleen. I think any side that Colleen is on is the fucking wrong side
Damn.
because she's a greedy bitch, and all she cares about
People are
is,
gonna call you a woman hater because that's the new thing now.
no being
Your inner misogyny is coming right
calling
out.
other women is the most feminist thing you can do.
Is that what the internet
Holding
is right
people
now?
fucking
Oh, yeah.
accountable.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
internet right now,
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah.
They're
Holding
saying
women accountable for the shit that they do is the most feminist thing that you can do.
put it on a shirt. They're saying that because they hired a man to direct this, he had no right hiring a man to even tell this story.
As if men don't
And
go
now
to
we're
domestic
calling.
violence?
It's like saying all this, and then it's like, and then to call Blake Lively the villain is just like prime, like whatever.
Believing women can do no wrong is gender essentialism. Like that is, it's not, that's not the vibe. So the fact that you can't just like admit that somebody's being like objectively wrong in the scenario is wrong.
Yeah. Plus, he's the one being painted
to
as
me,
the villain here.
Colleen Hoover has never in a million years marketed this movie or book appropriately. And this is why people like to say that she romanticizes domestic violence. And I personally think that she hides behind this is my mom's story so that nobody
I didn't know
can
that.
criticize her on how she
Yeah.
handles it. But the fact that she did the coloring book, the fact that she has the nail lines, the fact that she's leaned into these pop-up like florist shops, that she's leaning into like Blake's marketing and that like everything's floral and everything's cutesy and all this shit. Like she doesn't want it to be a story about domestic violence. She wants it to be like like Blake Lively literally said, grab your florals and your girlfriends and go head to the movies.
That's so weird.
Like it's fucking bizarro.
Well,
It's
people are. I was
bizarro.
reading like some. I shouldn't have, but I was reading some of the comments on like people being, saying exactly what you're saying, and they were like pissed. They're like, oh, what trailer did you watch? Like, it's pretty obvious there's domestic violence in it, and it's
the
like
first trailer had it. The other
But
trailers
even
did
the
not.
clips that you do see, like there's like the stuff that's in it. If you don't know anything about that book, if you don't know anything going into it and you watch it, you don't assume that it's domestic violence. You assume that like, yes, somebody is angry and smashing things,
Yeah, you
but they
don't
don't
know.
make it very
And
obvious at
imagine
all.
the
But
people who
that's-
go in there not knowing anything that have.
And
That's
then
what I'm
have-
saying.
That's what people are saying.
It's like what happened with
Colleen
Saving Private
Hoover-
Ryan. People like left the theater because of the PTSD.
And I'm not saying we need trigger warnings for movies, but at least market it
doesn't,
truthfully.
She doesn't believe in trigger warnings for books.
Yeah, that's
the
weird.
book doesn't have a trigger warning.
I just-
She doesn't believe in trigger warnings.
I just think you need to, if you're gonna do that, like at least market your, like be truthful in your your marketing.
They could have found a middle ground on this, right? Like they could have, everything could have been like,
They were afraid to lose money on it.
yeah, they were.
That's
Like this is just like so much. It's so like, this is why it infuriates me, because my one sticking point for everything
always.
is corporate greed. Like
Same.
I don't give a shit about everything that falls under it or all these like side quest like problems, because I think it all roots back to corporate greed.
Yeah, especially
I don't
right
think you
now
can
how the
solve-
industry is and how volatile it is in this industry. They're all scared to not make money.
They are.
Yeah.
They're terrified, and domestic violence doesn't sell movie tickets.
Nope.
It doesn't. Like at the end of the day, I understand like why they thought that this was the right move, but it wasn't.
It's a horrible move.
And Justin
Colleen-
Baldoni clearly let me circle back to the director, and like he is not contractually obligated the way that other actors are in this movie to do what they need to do promotion wise.
Yeah.
He can do what he wants to do because he owns the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he can do whatever the fuck he wants to do, and he can say, you do what you guys want to do, I'm going to do what I want to do. And that's why we're seeing the separation in the cast. Who's Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds?
This
in
is
terms of
all
power.
to say, though, that none of us have seen the movie. I do want to just like...
I don't want to.
I don't give a shit about the movie.
No, none of us want to see the movie.
I do not want
I don't
to.
want to give them money. If we get some comments that are like, clearly you haven't seen the movie.
I don't care about the movie. It has nothing to do with
I'm
the
just
movie.
saying, like, I just want to throw
There's
that out there.
nothing, like all of this commentary has nothing to do with the movie and has everything to do with like
The choices
people
aren't
just
made out of
being
marketing.
greedy
That's
about
it.
the scenario.
That's the end game. It's all greediness. That's
And
it.
now what they're doing is like Blake's team is creating these storylines of like Justin lingered too long on a kiss one
I
time,
saw
and
that.
like
He asked her
he
He
asked
asked what-
about her weight, but he has a back problem, so he needed to know like how much he could actually pick up, and like it was just like all of they're creating reasonable doubt for his character right now. That's what their PR team is. People are losing their mind right now because Justin just hired
they're
Johnny
mad.
Depp's PR team.
Yeah.
So they're
Oh,
like,
no.
why would you hire Johnny Depp's? And it's like, because
They're slandering him.
Because they're fucking...
Yeah.
Obviously, Johnny Depp came out of this pretty fucking good because most people aren't like canceling him.
Yeah.
This team is obviously the Olivia Pope of PR teams.
Right.
I was thinking this feels like Olivia Pope's all over it. Like Olivia Pope's in the background, like making
So-
things work.
But I do think that there's like, I think everyone needs to be aware that like the media circus right now is all just going to be creating these crazy narratives.
They were trying so hard to make it Barbenheimer with Deadpool.
Oh my God, they were trying so hard.
It was so weird seeing
so
Hugh
hard.
Jackman
Two-
and Ryan on the red
yeah.
carpet.
So
Like,
hard.
why?
That's the two worst movies you can put next to each other too. With Deadpool being what it is, and then
It's
like
so
yeah, I don't know, man. That's
inappropriate.
Really inappropriate. Really fucking inappropriate. That's how I felt about
The
that.
marketing for this movie has been so wild. Like if you actually look, like there's one where like it's Ryan Reynolds like showing the guy
His
who
butt.
plays Atlas like his butt, and it's like, what the
Why is Ryan in
What are
any
we
kind of
doing?
marketing?
Because it's
he's-
his wife.
I mean, I get they're in both each other's projects. It's
But
just,
why- he's not in the film.
He wrote a scene in the movie, so he's part
Why?
of it.
Writers don't always get to be on camera.
But also,
talking
why
about
is
it.
he writing a scene in
because he
fucking?
sells movies.
Apparently,
Understood.
they just
Listen, I love Ryan Reynolds. He's been my favorite Ryan, but like I don't think he has to be there. Like
No.
there's
It's
no
just they
need.
do their
you write
projects
one
together.
scene, you don't get to have a whole interview about yourself. Like that's just please move on. You
Blake-
have your own movie to deal with.
Blake did there was an article where Blake was talking to E! News or something. I don't think it was E! News. It was one of those sources. And she was just saying, like, we like to be part of each other's projects. Like, I was part of Deadpool and he's part
Okay.
of this one. But it's like, why? You don't have to do that.
I didn't even know she was part of Deadpool until you told me.
Yeah.
I
she
don't
was
like
the lead.
care. I don't
I don't care either.
about that
so
either.
here's my stance on this. So Erica brought this up to us, or no, Kristen did. Kristen sent something to the group chat. I watched it and then I moved on.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the problem right now with like social media and everyone who's on it. It's just they're so focused and
Invested.
festering on these things that don't need our time.
I get being upset
About the true things. Like
yes.
the marketing is inappropriate.
1000%.
Sure, but going in there and now like speculating
you're
about
pitting them-
Justin and
yeah.
Blake and throwing jabs at Blake, like
who
that-
cares?
all
at
of
that
this
point,
is hoopla. Like
Yeah.
there's
Let's
deal
deal with the real problem here.
They put out a
Exactly.
clip of like Justin and Blake like fighting on set. I like again circle back
Did
to
they?
like I don't fucking know.
Oh.
Circle back to the fact that like how many times have you seen creative disagreements in
all the time.
rooms where you're talking about what to do on, like for a project.
Especially
like, this is what happens.
Film is such a high stress
Oh my God.
location. It might feel fun for those who are on the outside looking in, but as people who've been on set before, it is the most stressful situation.
It's horrible.
There's so many people, there's so many eyes on you. There's so many people who are, especially if you own these studios, so many people depending on you for their livelihood in a time where the industry is very volatile.
And they make it feel like life or death.
Exactly.
Like you're a surgeon.
It's always life or
And
death.
it's just,
Yeah. It's like your whole
And there's
livelihood.
going to be tension, obvious.
And there's like
Yeah.
100 different crews that like are contingent on other crews
Yeah.
doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
So like you stop down for 20 minutes for something, you're fucking up an
Everyone.
entire maybe 150 to 300
Yep.
person like
so
set
true.
for the day.
That's so
Like
true.
it's not just like this like cutesy like, oh, we'll just like in the movies where it seems like you're just like going through it and everything's easy peasy. Like
Nope.
it's hard work. It's 12-hour days. It's long
12
maybe
plus.
12 plus
Yeah.
hour days. Like it's not the fact that
everybody's
people
an
are yelling
asshole.
at each other is not like
It's
Most
rare
of the
when you
actors
find
are
the nice
dickheads.
ones.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty wild.
I make friends with all the grips.
Yeah.
All the lighting, the electricians.
It's
that give
always
me
the
the
grips. Yep.
Make the best friends.
But what I think is really interesting, what I hear right now is that the crew is behind Justin and the cast is behind
That
Blake.
says everything I need to know.
And that says everything that you need to know.
That says everything.
Because Blake and Ryan have a lot of their careers in their hands, right?
Yeah, and once you've worked with people in that capacity, like influencers or famous people, you know what the intentions are and
Yep.
who is in the right and wrong almost always.
So there's an interview.
So much pretentiousness.
I
Ugh, it's terrible.
shared a interview with Jenny Slate on the red carpet, and the question was like, oh, what was it like with a scene, like Justin as a scene partner and also director? And Jenny Slate, it was like she had a seizure. Like she
Who the
like
fuck is Jenny Slate?
She's the
She's
girl I
fucking
only know her
nobody.
from Parks and Rec. It's like, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Yeah.
But no, she like her interview was like a literal seizure. Like she
do
didn't
you
even
think-
answer
do
it.
you- I think she didn't want to feed into it. So she was just saying, I don't want to have those crazy ass jobs. I love
Oh,
that I'm
yeah.
just an actor.
No, she didn't say anything about him. Anything. She
She just said,
Did you see it?
I watched it. Yeah.
She like did you see it?
Yeah.
She had like a literal seizure. She
I
didn't
don't think
say
a literal
anything.
seizure is, I think that's exaggerating a little bit.
She like didn't say anything. It was like
Yeah,
she
a
didn't
lot of
have a
actors do
coherent
that when they're
thought.
berated by 17 interviewers saying the same thing
The
over and over.
fact-
What do you think about the movie? What do you
The
think
fact
about the
that
movie?
you didn't have that answer or like even something close to an answer to say.
But sometimes that's the best thing that you can do. It's not
It's just not
fucking-
answer it.
We've done it before. Like
if you
sometimes when
can't
shit
say
happens,
one thing to be like just
sometimes you can't because people are going to dissect every little
Yeah.
thing that you say. So
Just
it's
how
safer
she
just to not
dissected
say
that,
it.
saying it's a seizure. She probably just didn't want to answer.
And the other part of this too is like Blake. There was a couple of interview questions of like people asking Blake about the DV part, and there was like a moment where she got like kind of annoyed, like she was like rolling her eyes a little bit, and like was just like, I'm kind of done talking about this.
Like, why'd you make
and
this
I
movie
think
then?
that just proves that. And anytime that she is talking about the DV stuff, she clearly is not media prepped at all.
Yeah, they
Like,
probably didn't prep her for it.
no,
Which is wild.
That's a
That's
choice.
the whole movie.
That's her. That was her
Yeah.
choice. I can
Yeah.
guarantee you that the reason that she was not media prepped for answering those types of questions is because she didn't want to answer those types of questions.
That's wild.
And she wanted to deviate around those, so she didn't feel it was necessary.
Were
to
those
prep
coming
for
out?
those
Were those
questions.
coming out
That
after
is speculative.
the
but-
drama?
What?
Were these interviews of the DV part? Do you think that's like
No, it was not the premiere.
right? But I'm asking,
Did that fuel the drama?
did the fuel the drama, or did it come
I think there
after
was,
it?
like,
chicken or the
Because is
egg?
it like her being like, "Oh, this is happening now because the drama's happening"?
There's like rumblings of like whatever, but like it was not anything until the premiere.
So the premiere
is
changed
what-
everything.
Is what blew this out of the fucking water.
Got it.
So
and-
Colleen Hoover's a scumbag. We all agree.
You're getting her on camera for this.
Yeah, no, it's somebody just messaged me something about Colleen Hoover, and I want to say we're literally talking about her right now.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Colleen
No.
Hoover, scumbag. We all agree.
Again, I don't care if you like her books, like enjoy them, don't enjoy them, what the fuck ever. She crossed my moral line, and now she's dead to me.
All right, and on that note,
She's dead to me.
let's end it there because that's it.
Because she could go in circles with
Here,
this.
let me do a Philly D real quick. Let me do a Philip DeFranco. What do you think?
I love this.
Let me put this on you, the listener. Have you read the book? What do you think?
A lot of
I'd love to know
people-
your thoughts. Share them
Yeah,
in the
share them
comments
in the
below.
comments
A lot
below.
of people are agreeing.
Oh no, I'm not asking.
I'm not asking you to bring it up.
I don't want you to bring it up. Thank you everybody so much. Next week we'll come back with a book. So look
or a
forward
movie.
to that.
You don't know.
Yeah, or a movie.
We'll switch it up.
What are you feeling?
We're spontaneous.
Let us know. Go ahead to our Instagram, books_n_Betches, BETCHES. Click the link tree. You can find our YouTube there and subscribe.
YouTube.
There it is.
Thanks,
Again,
everybody. We'll catch you next week. Erica has nothing else to say.
No.
Bye.
Bye.
What? Go ahead, say it.
Say it.
No.
Okay, good.
Okay,
bye.